What's up guys, it's Widgeon TV here. Todd Howard said it himself, Bethesda always starts with the world, and in Fallout 76, that's no different. Throughout the modern Fallout franchise, the world is put on a platter for you when leaving the starting area. This moment right at the beginning of the game is one of the best opportunities to appreciate the graphical fidelity of each of these games. Fallout 4 and 76 may be releasing in the same generation, but that doesn't mean these games' graphics will be the same. So in this video, we're going to go over some of the new technology Bethesda has implemented into their engine for this upcoming game. So at the beginning here, let's start with the more obvious stuff. In the Bethesda E3 presentation, Todd Howard touches on some of the new tech that allows 16 times the detail on screen at once, and the ability to view distant weather systems across the map. When he mentions 16 times the detail, he is probably referring to the draw distance. Because of the sheer size of the Fallout 76 map, there is simply more to view than in other Fallout games. It sounds like the increased draw distance is more than just an eye-catching graphical improvement. Bethesda wants you to use it to orientate yourself in the world. Check out this clip from the no-clip documentary of the making of Fallout 76.
With all the hills and the topography of the area, it's really beneficial for that, because Fallout 4 was actually like a really flat game, so it's hard to get those landmarks. Thankfully there's like skyscrapers and Diamond City, that giant glow, but in this case we have like an entire mountain range that bisects the map. So we can take that and put all these different landmarks on that. Like we made this ski resort called the Top of the World, which basically looks like a giant red UFO. And that's like a thumbtack in the middle of the map that you can orient yourself around. And then we have the giant bucket wheel excavator on another side. But it's also designed in that way where you're supposed to sort of lose where you're at once you go down in those hills. So you're deep in the valley, you're like, where am I at? And so you're encouraged to actually then go up the hill, and then we put all these like watchtowers and stuff, so then you're like, that's where I am, and pull out the binoculars and look around.
Along with this increased draw distance, you are now able to view distant weather systems. Depending on how Bethesda wants to implement this new feature, it could be a huge part of the game. Imagine setting a waypoint on your map and then stepping outside of your shelter only to find a radstorm in your path. This will bring up some interesting decision making. Should I go around the radstorm? Go right through it? Or maybe I should just stay home, organize my inventory, and wait it out. In Fallout 4, you may not care about radstorms very much, because in that game, they're not very dangerous. But in Fallout 76, I have a feeling radiation is going to play a much bigger role, because the nuclear radiation is only 20 years old instead of 200. But for that, we're gonna have to wait and find out. Alright, next up we should talk about the new animations being added to Fallout 76. Now of course we'll be getting all sorts of new emotes, reload animations, and probably much more. But the cool thing about 76 is the fact that the enemies, for the first time in the Fallout franchise, will have to deal with more than one person at a time. Yes, in Fallout 4 you could have a companion, and in Fallout 3 and New Vegas you could have a companion and a dog. But in those games, enemies basically only aggro one person at a time. But in Fallout 76, enemies will have to deal with up to 4 different players, all trying to avoid their attacks. Because of this, Bethesda has changed the way AI approaches a fight. Instead of just locking onto a single player and chasing, it instead will resort to area of effect attacks, attack in greater numbers, and some tankier enemies may jump between players in order to break apart your raiding team. The new AI and attack patterns should bring fun new tactics to the Fallout franchise. Alright, let's dig into the more technical side of the graphics comparison. Bethesda has clearly never stopped optimizing their game engine. They have added several enhancements that will improve the overall graphical fidelity of the game without necessarily increasing the graphical processing load. One of these new techniques being brought to Fallout 76 is subsurface scattering. I'll read a general description of this tech off Wikipedia. Subsurface scattering, or SSS, also known as subsurface light transport, is a mechanism of light transport in which light penetrates the surface of a translucent object and is scattered by interacting with the inside material, and then exits the surface at a different point. The light will generally penetrate the surface and be reflected a number of times at irregular angles, before passing back out of the material at a different angle. In the end, this tech will be some of the most important graphical enhancements in Fallout 76, because it deals with anything that is transparent. So things like foliage, water, skin, and even fog will look much more realistic than in Fallout 4. Obviously, in West Virginia, there's a ton of trees. And luckily, in Fallout 76, these trees will have leaves, opposed to other games where they're basically all dead. So looking at how light illuminates trees is something I'm really excited for to see in Fallout 76. Hopefully we'll be able to see more of the subsurface scattering in upcoming gameplay trailers. For the final technical aspect of this video, we're going to talk about the new dynamic lighting setup that was added by Bethesda. In the past Fallout games, indoor lighting has been for the most part fixed. Even if you remove a permanent light with console commands, the light will still appear to be there. This happens because of the light in the room is more of a texture than it is a light. This is done primarily to save processing power and memory. Now this technique works fine, but it doesn't allow the player to interact with the light or allow moving lights like a candle or fireplace. In Fallout 76, we should see a great improvement, with this possibly allowing better Pip-Boy lights, or allowing the player to shoot the lights to turn them off, although the full capabilities of this new system are still unknown. So there are some of the ways Fallout 76's graphics will be improved over Fallout 4's without requiring a new generation of console. I look forward to seeing more gameplay in the future to confirm some of these things, but I think we can all agree, Fallout 76's world is going to be a beautiful one to be immersed in. Anyway, that's all I have for this graphics comparison. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out my small channel. Also, consider following me on Twitter. It's the best place for me to keep in contact with you guys. Also, I just joined this Discord server called Fallout Universe. It will now be another way for you to reach me. And if you're looking for a Fallout-centered Discord to join, this one is a great option. A link will be in the description below. Anyway, this has been Widgeon TV. Thanks for watching, guys.
We always start with the world.